Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent's Backyard Redneckery. You know, as you can see behind me, I've got my garden nice and plowed. I've been wanting to put down the soil amendment this week, but it's rained every single day, just like last year. Ah, gotta love it. Anyway, it's not supposed to be raining for about another hour. I've got on my really cheap knockoff Crocs because my boots will pick up the mud and I'll be walking on it with that stuff that thick on there. So get ready and I'm going to show you what you can do and tell you how you can do it. Let's get into it. So in all the years that I've gardened in this area, or ever for that matter, I've never, ever added soil amendments to my garden. I've used lime, which technically I guess is a soil amendment, so that was a lie. I've used lime before and fertilizer, but I've never actually churned anything into the soil to help it with decomposition and organic materials and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you what I purchased, how I'm going to lay it out, how I'm going to mark it off, because I got to keep my rows just so, some things 2 feet, some things 3 feet. So I'm going to have to measure it out and lay it down, and I hope this way works. Since I've never done it before, it may fail, but I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see. So let's look at what I got. So I purchased this Kellogg Garden Organics all natural garden soil at Home Depot. It says it's for annuals, perennials, fruits, vegetables, blah, 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 in-ground planting only. And I've got it in my wheelbarrow, and this is my plan. Since I'm going to be using weed barrier this year, because as everybody knows, weeding a garden is the most tedious task of all things, and everybody hates it. So last year, my brother used 2 different types of weed barrier, and he showed me the results. One of them is just virtually few stragglers here and there, kind of the way it looks right now, and the other one just pure grass coming up through it. So I bought that type from Home Depot, Vigoro something or other. I'll show it to you here in a minute. That's what I'm going to lay out on the garden. So what I'm planning to do here is take the soil amendment, lay it in my rows, and just move that into the ground. Not put it through the whole garden, just in the rows, and then put down the weed barrier on top of it, and then burn the holes in there and put my plants in. So when it comes to setting up my garden, laying it out, I'm pretty anal about my rows being straight. So let me show you what I do to take care of that. Now, if you've seen some of my older videos, you've probably seen these sticks before. They're fiberglass. I got them at Rural King, 4 feet long, and I'll use them as markers. I'll take this string and tie it along the bottom, and then I'm going to string it out right to where I want it and keep it straight all the way down through here. So let me set that up and do that. So my first corner, I'm doing 2 feet out. So I'll just string that up and show you what we got. All right, I got my first string out there. This is going to be my baseline to measure off of. I'm at 2 feet. Probably going to go 2, 4, 6, depending on what I'm putting in the rows, and do that all the way across. I'm probably going to put that stuff about, I'm guessing a couple of inches deep or thick, and maybe about 5, 6 inches wide, and then turn it into the soil with this here 3-pronged claw thingy. So all right, here we go. Let's have some fun. So this is my plan. It's just to do this, which I hope will work. It's obviously going to take quite a while to do this stupidity, but hopefully it turns out pretty decent, and the roots will be able to spread out maybe a little bit better, and the soil won't dry out so much and look like an old dried up pond. So let's see how this is going to work. Well, definitely I'm going to be pulling up more crappy grass, but I think this will work. Just get that to where it stays a little bit looser, because I'm sure that you've dealt with just using straight dirt, and I hate airplanes. Kiss my freaking behind. So anyway, if you've used just dirt before, you know how it can dry out, get all cracked, looking like an old pond. There's an old something. But I'm thinking that this ought to help with that, especially with the weed barrier once I get it put down. I think that'll help a lot too. So I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna go ahead and get this whole thing done up. See what I can't do, and hopefully it won't rain me out, and I'll at least be able to get this crap spread. So I basically just shot this part so you could see the process I used by doing it all by hand, rolling out all of my soil mixture, putting it in with my 3-prong claw thingy, and then tilling it in. Well, I ended up getting 4 rows done yesterday. Then I had to take a little break because if you look at the difference between the soil there, where there's footprints, and then here, where the wheelbarrow has gone, that stuff right there is completely compacted. Like, so hard that I couldn't get my little 3-prong grabber, tiller, claw thingy in it. So it wasn't breaking up the soil. So that last row ended up taking me almost an hour and a half, whereas the first one took me about 45 minutes doing it all by hand. So I've decided to change tactics for the rest of this part of the garden. And it's time to break the tiller back out. Well, that row looks just as good as the other ones, and it only took about 25 minutes. So I'll take that. So all my rows are plowed up. I've got all my in-ground soil mixed in there. I'm doing, these rows are spread apart more for my loofahs since they're going to vine out. And I've left this spot here in the middle blanks, so I don't just walk right into rows of plants. So now I've got this weed barrier here. I'm going to get it all strapped in. I'm going to put it down with some garden staples, and we'll see how it turns out. All right. So the plan here is to lay this stuff out, put a couple staples in up here at this end to hold it in place until I can roll it out all the way down, and then staple it, and then overlap each one all the way down. So hopefully this will turn out the way I want it to, and not just be some kind of cluster foxtrot. But we shall see. Having never used this stuff before, I don't know if I'm going to do it right or not, but I followed the directions, so it should turn out. But this is how I'm going to do the whole place. Once I'm done, I'll show you the finished product. Yeah, so basically after about 3 or 4 days of not too intensive work, but a little bit of hard work, I ended up getting all this stuff taken care of, my soil put in, my weed barrier put down, and I think overall it turned out looking pretty good. Of course, time will tell as to whether or not those weeds stay out, but for right now, it's looking really good. All right, that wraps up another episode of Brent's Backyard Redneckery. If you guys learned something, make sure to give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, come back next time, tell you what you need to do. Y'all have a good one.